Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I certainly appreciate you convening this hearing. I think it's important for us to understand how our federal agencies are working, how they're failing, and how we can better provide service to the Americans that pay their taxes and expect high level of services. There's an awful lot to unpack here with three distinguished folks like this, but I'd like to focus just a bit on passports. That seems to be one of the issues that my office deals with the most. And don't get me wrong, I'm excited to be in a place, and my staff certainly is eager to help those with passport issues. And we get all kinds of calls with folks that need to go to weddings and honeymoons and have business trips and sales calls and mission trips and vacations of a lifetime and seem to not be able to get service from the State Department on passports. In fact, while I see the role of a congressional office as being one to help break loose a logjam with bureaucracy, I feel that my office is now often the first point of contact. In fact, there have been situations where constituents would call and ask for help with a passport to a passport agency and then be told by that agency, you need to call your congressman. And then my staff takes in the information and turns around and calls the agency back. It seems to be a very awkward, inefficient way to run things. And so I have just a few questions on that. Ms. Bitters, I think I heard you say that 100% of the employees in, I'm going to call it Department of State, are back at work live. Is that correct?
All of our public-facing passport offices are open and have been open since June of 2020 with their staff in the office.
And so I get reports because there's so many folks that are told they have to go visit an office, sometimes in Charleston, sometimes in Atlanta. I represent North Carolina in the Southeast. That folks have driven all the way to Charleston to see locked doors. Is that something you would be aware of, or can you think of a reason that passport office might have doors closed?
Sure. Thank you for the question. I should also say, first of all, we're grateful for the partnership of your constituent services staff. That's really important to us to be able to work with your staff, to be able to draw to our attention problems that people may be having. We have, most of our passport centers and agencies have public counters. They see 23,000 people per week on an emergency basis. We try to publicize widely our service expectations, which is 10 to 13 weeks right now, so that people can plan for their trips. It happens that Charleston is not one of our agencies that has a public counter. So, but I think the closest one to your constituents would be in Atlanta.
We have sent a number of folks to Atlanta. What are the performance metrics for your agency? How do you measure success? How do you measure productivity of employees?
There are. How do we measure productivity? Overall, what we want to see is a reduction in wait times. We're disappointed with the wait times. We think they're high, and we anticipate that they will be going down later in the summer back to pre-pandemic levels by the end of the calendar year. There are negotiated with the union service expectations and production standards, but I don't know off the top of my head what they are. And
that's a bit vague to me as a business person. And I hear you saying that you're looking for reduction in wait times. What are the wait times right now?
Right now, it is 10 to 13 weeks is the service expectation for a regular passport, and I think it's 7 to 9 weeks for an expedited passport.
Those are the times right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a goal for your agency? What it should be?
Pre-pandemic, wait times typically, although it's seasonal, were 6 to 8 weeks and 2 to 3 or 4 weeks per expedite. Right. We anticipate we'll be back there at the end of the calendar year. We were there at the beginning of this fiscal year. We were at, I think, 7 to 9 weeks. We're experiencing unprecedented demand. Last year, we issued 22 million passport books and cards, which was the most ever. And this year, we're on track to do 15% above that. And that accounts for the wait times.
And so that lends another question. Could we have anticipated, should we have anticipated the pent-up demand, which appears to me what we're experiencing after COVID? Now folks are traveling and trying to make up for lost trips. Could we, is there something we could have done to anticipate that demand?
What we have been doing is continuing to aggressively hire passport adjudicators. We came out of the pandemic after hiring freezes that we were rebuilding from, and then hiring freezes because of the loss of the fees that we collect for travel. We were 25% below where we had been 4 years before. So we have been working very hard to rehire people, to hire as much staff as possible. We've hired 10% of our staff within the last year. We have 10% in the pipeline now. We submitted a plan, an ops plan that was approved yesterday by Congress for FY23, requesting more positions and more investment in technology.
Today, how many positions are not filled to deal with passports that are funded?
I think we have about a 10% vacancy rate, but I'll have to confirm that.
About a number.
I think we probably have, I don't know the answer to that, where we have requested 177 more in the ops plan.
All right.
And I think we probably have about 100 that we need to fill right now, 100, 110. But we'll have to confirm that.
So I'd just like to say, Mr. Chair, if I might, because I see my time's expiring, my staff is mostly complimentary about the interaction that they have with those folks dealing with passports. Once they're able to make contact, but my staff spends an inordinate amount of time on hold and calling back to make that contact, and it just seems as though we should do better by the American people with a service that only government can perform. Thank you. Mr. Chair, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back his time. I also want to thank the gentleman for requesting this hearing several weeks ago, and I hope that this meets some of that expectation of getting answers. Thank you very much.